They stood alone, until Earth's dreadnoughts appeared overhead. The colony of Haven's End had been under siege for 6 days when Governor Tay received word that help would not be coming. The message from Galactic Defense Command was brief and devastating. All available forces were committed to protecting core worlds, and outlying settlements would have to fend for themselves against the swarm invasion. "Sir, we've lost contact with the outer defense platforms," reported Captain Rex from the colony's command center, his reptilian features showing the strain of constant combat. "Enemy bioships are establishing orbital positions around the planet." "Governor?" Tay nodded grimly, studying the tactical display that showed their desperate situation. Haven's End was home to over 2 million civilians from a dozen different species, all of whom had chosen to build their lives on the frontier rather than accept the safety of established core worlds. Now that choice was about to cost them everything. The key? Swarm had emerged from dark space 3 months earlier, consuming entire star systems with relentless efficiency. Their biomechanical ships could regenerate damage, adapt to weapons, and reproduce using consumed matter from destroyed worlds. Every military strategist in the galaxy had declared them unstoppable once they achieved critical mass. "What's our current defensive status?" Tay asked, though she suspected the answer would confirm her worst fears. "We have 43 operational. Defense turrets, 17 patrol craft, and the militia ground forces," Rex replied. "Against approximately 300 swarm bioships and growing. They're using harvested materials from the outer mining stations to construct additional vessels." The colony's multi-species population had rallied together in the face of annihilation, with crystalline engineers working alongside aquatic technicians and reptilian soldiers to maintain their failing defenses. But courage and determination could only accomplish so much against overwhelming odds. "Governor," called Communications Officer Vale from her station, "I'm receiving a priority transmission from an unknown source. The signal is coming from outside the system." "Put it through," Tay ordered, though she couldn't imagine who would be contacting a doomed colony in the middle of a war zone. The main view screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of a starship unlike anything in the standard databases. The vessel's interior was utilitarian and efficient, with systems that appeared to be designed for extended combat operations. The man who appeared wore the uniform of Earth's Deep Space Navy, though Haven's End's records showed no human military vessels in this sector. "Governor Tay, this is Admiral Kane of the Terran vessel Retribution," the human said, his voice carrying the calm authority of experienced command. "We received your distress signal and are moving to assist." Tay felt her heart skip beats in astonishment. "Admiral Kane, our records show no Earth Navy assets in this region. How did you receive our transmission?" "Governor, humans have been monitoring swarm activity throughout the galaxy for months," Kane replied. "We've been tracking this particular invasion fleet since they consumed the Kepler system." Before Tay could ask how a single ship could possibly help against hundreds of swarm vessels, proximity alarms began sounding throughout the command center. The tactical display showed massive hyperspace distortions forming throughout the system. "Sir, I'm reading multiple incoming signatures," Rex reported, his voice rising with excitement. "Massive energy outputs unlike anything I've seen before." What emerged from hyperspace redefined Governor Tay's understanding of human military capability. The first vessel alone was larger than Haven's End's orbital station, its angular hull bristling with weapon systems that seemed designed for one purpose: killing swarm bioships. Behind it came dozens more vessels of varying sizes, all bearing the distinctive markings of Earth's Deep Space Navy. "Admiral Kane," Tay transmitted, staring at the display in amazement. "Where did this fleet come from? Intelligence reports suggest humans have limited military assets." Kane's expression took on a quality that made Governor Tay suddenly understand why the swarm might have reason to fear humanity. "Governor, intelligence reports have been significantly understated. Earth has been preparing for this war longer than most people realize. The human fleet moved into combat formation with precision that spoke of extensive training and combat experience. Instead of the elegant maneuvers favored by most galactic militaries, the Earth vessels arranged themselves in patterns that maximized firepower concentration and minimized exposure to swarm adaptive capabilities. All Haven's End defensive forces withdraw to minimum safe distance, Admiral Kane commanded over the tactical channel. We're implementing total elimination protocols. What followed redefined space combat for everyone watching from the colony's surface. The swarm bioships that had seemed unstoppable against conventional weapons found themselves facing technology specifically designed to counter their every adaptation. Human weapons didn't rely on energy signatures that bioships could learn to resist. Instead, they used kinetic projectiles, plasma charges, and exotic matter weapons that bypassed organic defenses entirely. Where swarm vessels had regenerated from previous damage, human fire prevented healing by targeting biological systems directly. How are they doing this? Captain Rex asked in amazement as swarm bioships began exploding throughout orbital space. The answer came from Admiral Kane himself as his fleet systematically dismantled the invasion force. Captain, humans have been fighting the swarm for 2 years in regions beyond galactic monitoring. Every weapon system in this fleet was developed through direct combat experience. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it was over, the orbital space around Haven's End was filled with the debris of destroyed swarm vessels, while the human fleet maintained perfect formation among the wreckage. Governor Tay, Admiral Kane transmitted as cleanup operations began. Your colony is secure. We'll maintain a defensive presence until Galactic Defense Command can deploy regular forces to this sector. Admiral, how many fleets like yours does Earth maintain? Tay asked, though she suspected the answer would challenge everything the galaxy thought it knew about humanity. Kane's smile carried implications that made Governor Tay suddenly grateful that humans were allies rather than enemies. Governor, this is Deep Strike Fleet 12. We have 17 more fleets of similar size currently deployed against swarm forces throughout the galaxy. The revelation that humanity possessed 18 fleets of this magnitude sent shockwaves through every species monitoring the communication channels. Earth had been quietly building the largest military force in galactic history while everyone else assumed they possessed minimal defensive capabilities. Why didn't Earth request support from the Galactic Defense Command? Tay asked. We tried that approach 2 years ago, Kane replied. GDC classified our reports about swarm capabilities as exaggerated and suggested we were seeking attention from established powers, so we stopped asking for help and started building our own solutions. As the human fleet began establishing defensive patrols around Haven's End, Governor Tay realized that everything the galaxy believed about humanity had been fundamentally wrong. The species everyone had dismissed as frontier colonists and merchant traders had been secretly waging war against an existential threat while the core worlds remained oblivious to the danger. Admiral Kane, will Earth continue protecting frontier colonies like ours? Governor, humanity protects what needs protecting, Kane answered simply, whether anyone asks us to or not. The massive human dreadnoughts continued their patrol patterns above Haven's End, their presence a promise that the colony would never stand alone again. Throughout the galaxy, frontier settlements that had been written off by their own governments began receiving similar protection from ships that shouldn't have existed. Earth's Navy had spoken, and their message was clear. No one would face the darkness alone while humans drew breath.